Welcome to the Fundamentals of Food Handling. This is a basic study guide on the appropriate ways to safely handle food. Most foodborne sickness is caused by microorganisms known as germs. How do germs spread? Often because employees are not washing their hands, coughing and sneezing, after handling garbage, dirty dishes, and dirty clothing, by mishandling food, and by insects and rodents. These are the most common ways that germs are spread. When cooking food, it is important to use a separate utensil for each food. Foods that are raw or not completely cooked can contaminate other foods if the utensils are mixed. Remember, use only utensils to transfer food to plates, not your hands. Also, serve food and drinks on clean, sanitized dishes. When storing foods, make sure the food is stored 6 inches above the floor in a cool, dry place. Also remember to store all chemicals and cleaners away from food. And make sure everything is sealed, has a lid, an expiration date, and a label. Ice is sometimes used as a cooling medium when mechanical refrigeration is not available. Make sure to cool foods and containers before placing them in the ice. Ice levels must be at least as high as the level of food in the container in order for food to be cooled effectively. Pests such as rodents, cockroaches, and flies must be kept out of food areas because they may spread germs. To keep pests out of food establishments, do the following. Keep doors closed or screened and seal holes in the walls. Cover garbage cans with lids and throw away used boxes. Keep food covered and clean all spills quickly. And finally, keep the facility clean. If you are machine washing your dishes, please remember to clean the dishwashing machine often. Wash and rinse tanks should fill with clear water. Scrape and flush utensils before washing. Pre-soak items having dried on food. Load utensil baskets so that all surfaces of utensils will be exposed to the spray of cleaning solution. Never overload a machine. Always check the machine gauges for proper temperature of the wash, rinse, and sanitize cycles. If chemical sanitizer is used, use a test kit to ensure proper concentration. Check all items for cleanliness upon removal from machine. Run soiled utensils through the machine again. Air dry all utensils before storing them. Do not use towels. If the machine sanitizes using heat, the temperature must reach 180 degrees Fahrenheit. If chemical sanitizer is used, the chlorine solutions must be at least 50 parts per million and no more than 200 parts per million using a test kit. General rules of good personal hygiene apply to everyone who cooks or handles food. So make sure to bathe or shower daily, wear clean clothing on the job, wear a hair restraint when preparing foods or washing utensils. Remember to keep your fingernails short and clean. Eat and smoke only in designated areas away from foods and utensils. And remember to notify your supervisor if you are ill. There is no bare hand contact with ready-to-eat foods. Food-grade gloves or suitable utensils must be utilized. When storing or handling dishes, please adhere to the following rules. Utensils should be stored upside down on a clean surface if possible. Silverware should be stored in clean containers or bins. Pots and pans should be kept on shelves or hooks well above the floor. Handle drinking glasses by the base or bottom end of the glass. Never touch the rim. When getting ice for drinks, use the ice scoop. Handle silverware only by the handle. Carry plates by the edges or the bottoms of the plate only. Use only utensils to transfer food to plates. Proper food safety practices require the avoidance of cross-contamination of foods. Cross-contamination is contamination of a food product from another source. There are 3 main ways cross-contamination can occur. The first is people to food. Hands touch raw food and then touch cooked or ready-to-eat food. The second is food-to-food cross-contamination, where raw or contaminated food drips fluids onto cooked or ready-to-eat foods. The last is equipment to food, that is when food contact surfaces are not cleaned and sanitized between uses. When preparing food, it is important to remember to wash raw foods thoroughly before preparation. Only use designated food prep sinks or a clean and sanitized 3-compartment sink for food preparation. Never use the hand-washing sink or the mop sink for preparing foods. When cutting or chopping, use a clean, sanitized cutting board that has a smooth surface because scratches and crevices collect germs. Also, thoroughly wash, rinse, and sanitize surfaces between cuttings of meat and vegetables. Safe methods for thawing frozen food include in a refrigerator at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or less, in a microwave oven, under cold running water, or during the cooking process. Never thaw food at room temperature, such as on the countertop. Food must always be kept at a safe temperature during thawing. A core principle of food safety is avoiding the temperature danger zone. That is, temperatures above 41 degrees Fahrenheit and below 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember internal cooking and holding temperatures. Refrigerated foods should be stored below 41 degrees Fahrenheit, and frozen foods should remain solidly frozen. The internal cooking temperatures of ground beef should be at least 155 degrees Fahrenheit. Pork should be 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Chicken and poultry, 165 degrees Fahrenheit. When reheating foods, make sure that the internal temperature is above 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Hold hot foods above 135 degrees Fahrenheit until served, and always inspect foods for spoilage, contamination, odors, and discoloration. Also, check labels and expiration dates. To prevent chemical contamination of food, make sure to follow directions for storing and using the chemicals. Measure chemicals and use proper amounts. Always store chemicals away from food, food packaging, utensils, and equipment. When transferring chemicals, always label the new container, and never use food containers to store chemicals or chemical containers to store food. The manual cleaning and sanitizing of utensils, often referred to as hand washing, requires that you remember the following. Scrape food off plates before washing. Use dishwashing soap made for washing dishes. And make sure the water in all sinks is deep enough to immerse your largest utensil. Practicing safe food handling requires that you wash your hands often. This includes washing after touching food, handling garbage, smoking, using the restroom, or handling chemicals or cleaners. Make sure to keep hands away from face and hair so germs will not be transferred from the nose and mouth to food. If you are sick, do not work around food. Make sure to keep all floors clean by sweeping and mopping. Keep areas clean where dishes, glassware, silverware, pots, and pans are stored, and clean stockroom areas where food is stored. And finally, we have saved the simplest and most important instruction for last, and that is proper hand washing techniques. In a designated hand washing sink, use warm water to moisten your hands. Then apply soap. After applying soap, vigorously rub your hands together for at least 20 seconds, thoroughly cleaning your palms, the top of your hands, and between your fingers. Then rinse thoroughly. Dry your hands with a single-use disposable paper towel or an approved air dryer. This concludes your basic study guide on the fundamentals of food handling.